Hello and welcome back to Movie Health Community, the internet's #1 source of health warnings at the movies. Please keep in mind that nothing produced by Movie Health Community is medical advice and nothing produced by Movie Health Community has been reviewed by medical professionals. I caught a double feature today of Migration and Poor Things. Right now I'm going to talk about Poor Things, the new Yorgos Lanthimos film starring Emma Stone, Mark Ruffalo, and Willem Dafoe in the lead roles. Now, Yorgos Lanthimos is known as a really weird filmmaker. I've only seen one of his movies. I saw The Favorite, and I wasn't a huge fan of it, but I could appreciate a lot of the artistry behind it. Once again, it's Yorgos Lanthimos working with Emma Stone. Now let's talk first about whether or not this movie is safe for photosensitive audiences. The answer is almost completely safe. This movie has a scene inspired by old Frankenstein movies where there are electrical arcs all over being used while trying to reanimate a corpse. There's a brief fireworks scene that maybe has some really mild strobe effects. There are title cards throughout the movie that denote where the next segment of action is going to be taking place. And on the fourth one of these, which is at the end of a segment on a boat, this one has some lightning in it, which creates some moderate to strong strobe effects, but they are very brief. For flashing lights, we are giving Poor Things a 3 out of 10. As for camera motion, all of the camera motion in this movie is really smooth. However, there are a lot of shots filmed with a fisheye style camera lens. And they do go from left to right, and some of the distortion that fisheye lens causes may be a little bit disorienting. Now, when it comes to mental health triggers, I do have quite a few. The biggest of which is several scenes of very graphic surgery. Incisions, removal of organs, that does happen quite a bit. The opening scene of this movie involves a death by suicide. There's a scene after someone has eaten more than they should where they look visibly nauseous and they're walking around as if they're visibly nauseous, and they do throw up on screen. On that front, there's also a character who will let out prolonged burps and let out one large bubble with each one. That may be a little bit triggering to people with emetophobia. Finally, there are scenes of domestic abuse in this film, mainly involving deadly threats of violence. Now, is Poor Things any good? I would say that the easiest way to describe if this movie is any good is that it is a masterpiece of weirdness and sex. It is, in fact, really weird, but in a really great way. I don't know if that's going to be the case with everybody, but I was totally here for the weirdness of this movie. And so I love weirdness and I love sex. And there was quite a bit of sex in this movie. So if there is a warning quality-wise that I have to give, I would say if there's anyone that you would not want to witness a sex scene with, don't watch it with them. Like, don't watch it with your parents. And yeah, if sex is something that you culturally find taboo or otherwise you don't talk about it, or there's a lot of shame associated with it, I would not recommend watching Poor Things. Because this movie takes a really sex-positive stance. That sex itself is not a negative thing. But let's move on from the topic of sex. Emma Stone, this may have been one of her best performances, and she's given some really good ones. I thought she was pretty decent in the one she got her Oscar for with La La Land. I thought she was really good in Birdman. But this is the best thing I've seen her do. Willem Dafoe, he brings his normal Willem Dafoe-ness to this movie. But what's amazing is that Willem Dafoe does not give the biggest performance in this movie. That's definitely given by Mark Ruffalo, who seems to have been made to play these really normal type roles lately. Specifically in the MCU, they seem to have him as normal of a person as you can find, and he did anything but normal with this movie. His big, grand performance fit this movie so well, and he was just so good. Honestly, I really don't have any complaints about this movie. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes, and it may feel a little long, but it feels like it justifies that runtime, and Even if some action may unfold a little slowly, it never feels like there's any pacing issues, and it never feels like a slow movie. So I'm gonna give Poor Things an A+ for this year. I would say that this is only the fourth movie of this year I would give an A+ to. I gave one to Gran Turismo, I gave one to The Holdovers, and since it was before I started doing these YouTube reviews, I would have also given one to John Wick Chapter 4. Thank you so much to our readers on Tumblr and Facebook, and as always, an extra special thanks to the sponsors of this video, our patrons over on our Patreon page. Be sure to like this video, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon if you want to be notified of new videos when we post them, and leave a comment below if you have anything to add to this discourse, especially if you disagree with anything I've said. We love hearing from you. And as always, stay safe at the movies.